Question: where was Abraham Lincoln born? Well, the history books we all read in school tell us Kentucky. A lot of people, including some historians, though, question whether that is true. So tonight we go searching for the truth.
The towering figure of Abraham Lincoln has long been anchored to the humble log cabin near Ogdenville, Kentucky, where history records his birth on February 12, 1809. Yet beneath this foundational narrative lies a persistent controversy that has captivated historians, genealogists, and local communities for more than a century. Claims emerge periodically, asserting that America's 16th president was not born in the rolling farmland of Kentucky. These assertions have gained renewed attention as modern genetic testing capabilities promise to unlock secrets that traditional historical methods cannot resolve. The implications stretch far beyond academic curiosity. They touch at the heart of American identity and the mythic story of Lincoln's rise from poverty to greatness. The North Carolina Challenge.
Well, we examine the evidence that we have had presented, and most of that evidence is folklore.
Shared through the generations.
The alternative theory of Lincoln's birthplace centers on the rugged hills of Rutherford County, North Carolina, specifically near the small town of Bostic. This challenge to conventional history emerged from local oral traditions that persisted long after Lincoln's assassination in 1865. According to these accounts, Lincoln was the illegitimate son of Abraham Enlow, a prosperous North Carolina mountaineer, and Nancy Hanks, who worked as a servant in the Enlow household. The Bostic Lincoln Center, a volunteer-run historical organization, has become the primary advocate for this alternative birthplace theory. Their claims rest on several pillars of evidence, including striking physical resemblances between Lincoln and members of the Enlow family. Particularly compelling to supporters is the documented similarity between Lincoln and Wesley Enlow, allegedly Lincoln's half-brother, both described as exceptionally tall and lanky with similar facial features. Historical documents from as early as 1899 support these claims. James H. Cathy published The Genesis of Lincoln, which endeavored to prove what he called, quote, an interesting fact in the story of America's most remarkable man. Cathy's work, based on interviews and scattered sources, argued that Nancy Hanks became pregnant while serving in Abraham Enlow's household, located approximately 14 miles from what is now Bryson City in Swain County, North Carolina. The North Carolina theory attempts to resolve several historical puzzles that have long troubled Lincoln's scholars. Those include the noted lack of emotional connection between Lincoln and Thomas Lincoln, the man traditionally recognized as his father. Historians have observed that Thomas Lincoln showed little physical, intellectual, or emotional similarity to Abraham Lincoln, lending credence to alternative paternity theories. Authors Richard Eller and Jerry Goodnight explored these connections extensively in their book, The Tar Heel Lincoln, published by Tar Heel Press. Their research examined physical resemblances between Lincoln and the Enlow family by comparing photographs, documented missing records from Kentucky, inconsistent data in official accounts, and what they characterized as evidence of deliberate historical manipulation to support Lincoln's political career. The Kentucky documentation. Despite the North Carolina claims, substantial documentation supports Lincoln's Kentucky birth. The marriage of Thomas Lincoln and Nancy Hanks is well documented through official records discovered in Washington County, Kentucky. The marriage bond, dated June 10, 1806, and the subsequent marriage ceremony performed by Jesse Head on June 12, 1806, provide legal foundation for the traditional Lincoln family narrative. These documents were discovered after years of uncertainty about the legitimacy of Thomas and Nancy's marriage. Ward H. Lamone's 1872 Life of Lincoln had denied the legality of their marriage, prompting Robert Todd Lincoln to enlist Presidential Secretary John Nicolay to research the matter. The search initially proved unsuccessful because investigators focused on Hardin County rather than Washington County. Charlotte Vaughter from Massachusetts, whose mother was a first cousin of Nancy Hanks, played an instrumental role in the eventual discovery of the marriage documents. Vaughter encouraged her uncle, Mitchell Thompson, to search in the Washington County Courthouse, where County Clerk W.F. Brooker assisted in uncovering the crucial evidence. The New York Tribune reported the discovery on January 25, 1879, crediting Springfield, Kentucky attorney R.J. Brown with the find. Lincoln himself provided testimony about his origins in correspondence with Solomon Lincoln in March 1848. Writing from his law office in Springfield, Illinois, Lincoln stated unequivocally he was born February 12, 1809, in Hardin County, Kentucky. His letter detailed his family genealogy, noting his grandfather Abraham had moved from Rockingham County, Virginia, to Kentucky around 1782 and was killed by Native Americans 2 years later. The Abraham Lincoln Birthplace, National Historical Park in LaRue County, preserves the traditional birthplace site. The park encompasses both Sinking Spring Farm, where Lincoln was reportedly born, and Knob Creek Farm, where the family lived until Lincoln was 7 years old. The memorial building, designed by John Russell Pope and dedicated in 1911, features symbolic elements representing Lincoln's presidency, including 16 windows, 16 rosettes, and 16 fence poles. Modern DNA investigations.
We're not trying to discount what was said in the history books or in Kentucky. What we do is tell our story.
Contemporary genetic science has introduced new dimensions to the Lincoln birthplace controversy, though the results have been more complex than either side anticipated. The Genetic Lincoln website, managed by researcher Suzanne Hallstrom, represents the most comprehensive effort to apply DNA analysis to Lincoln family mysteries. This project has focused primarily on maternal lineage through mitochondrial DNA testing, which traces inheritance through the female line. The Nancy Hanks Lincoln mtDNA study, completed in 2015, determined that Lincoln's mother belonged to the rare haplogroup X1C. This finding provided crucial genetic markers for Lincoln's maternal ancestry, enabling researchers to trace connections to other Hanks family members and potentially identify previously unknown relatives. However, DNA testing of alleged Lincoln artifacts has produced mixed results. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library Foundation commissioned FBI analysis of a stovepipe hat claimed to have belonged to Lincoln. Using DNA samples from Lincoln's hair and blood-spattered items from his assassination, forensic scientists concluded there was insufficient DNA data remaining on the hat to establish a definitive connection. Most recovered DNA appeared to come from contemporary individuals who had handled the artifact. The Grand Army of the Republic Museum and Library in Philadelphia possesses a blood-stained pillowcase fragment from Lincoln's assassination. Cardiologist John Sotos, author of The Physical Lincoln, has requested DNA testing of the artifact to support his theory that Lincoln suffered from multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2B, a rare genetic cancer syndrome. The museum's board initially rejected Sotos' request, citing concerns about proper handling of the historic artifact. Researchers associated with the Enlow family genealogy have pursued their own DNA investigations through the Family Tree DNA platform. The Enlow DNA project aims to prove or disprove various family connections, including whether Abraham Enlow of Western North Carolina could have been Lincoln's biological father. Scientific challenges. The application of DNA analysis to historical questions faces significant technical and ethical obstacles, particularly when dealing with 19th century figures like Lincoln. The primary challenge lies in obtaining suitable genetic material from authenticated sources. While Lincoln assassination artifacts exist, their provenance must be meticulously verified, and contamination from subsequent handling poses ongoing problems. Mitochondrial DNA testing, while useful for tracing maternal lineage, can't address questions of paternal identity. Since the North Carolina theory primarily concerns Lincoln's alleged father, Abraham Enlow, mitochondrial DNA from Nancy Hanks Lincoln cannot resolve this specific controversy. Now it's time to hear from you. If Lincoln was indeed born in North Carolina, would it change anything about what you think about him? Let us know in the comments section below.